Welcome back to math class in Edpuzzle at Mrs. Finney's class. We are on page 331, which is the start of lesson 6-1 in our student workbooks. Please make sure you have your books out and a writing utensil handy. You'll remember that yesterday we spent our time practicing and writing our one-step equations. Some of you were on top of your game yesterday and wrote down those one-step equations on page 331 as well already. So you may just watch and listen. If you did not write those 4 examples down in class yesterday, please write these down along with me. So we practiced yesterday that if we have an equation with an addition sign in it, that we can undo that addition by subtracting. So the opposite of +7 is -7, and x equals 3. We looked at the opposite of subtraction being addition, and the opposite of -3 is +3 or +3. And so W would equal 18. And then we also looked at the last 2 functions that we know and are related by inverse operations. When we have a multiplication problem, the opposite of multiplying is to divide. So 4 times x, the opposite of times 4 is to divide by 4. And x equals 4, remembering that whatever we do on the left, we have to do on the right. And similarly, if I have something that starts with division, like for example, x divided by 2 equals 20, the opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. So x would equal 40. So there's that review of yesterday's examples. We're going to turn to page 332 next and look at a try it problem for lesson 6-1. Now we're going to transition from just writing, we did. We're going to transition from just writing one-step equations to writing equations that involve 2 steps. They're going to use either adding or subtracting and multiplying or dividing. So we see on the bottom of page 332, Cole buys a new laptop for $335. So his total cost of the laptop is $335. Kind of hard to write it in there. You could write it above it if it's a little too small. He makes a down payment of $50. So when he goes to the store, he pays $50 right away, and then he's going to pay the rest over the course of maybe 6 months. So he breaks the rest of the dollar amount into 6 equal payments. So we can express this using our visualization here. The cost, which is our total cost of the laptop, was $335. Then I paid my down payment of $50, plus I paid 6 equal payments. I paid a certain amount each month for 6 months. And so when we write this as an equation, we can say 335 equals 50 plus 6p. And in our next lesson, we'll work on solving these equations that we write. So turn with me now to page 334, which is our key concepts page for lesson 6-1. As we look at a couple more practice problems, you should be writing these down along with me as you're watching them in the Edpuzzle video. So looking at number 4 on page 334, Rita started the day with R apps. She deleted 5 apps and still had twice as many apps as Cora has. So let's think about how we could write this. Rita starts with R apps. She deletes, which means she takes away 5 apps. She has, which gives me my equal sign, twice as many. Well, twice is like saying 2 times Cora, twice as many apps as Cora. So this would be one way to write the expression, but when we have 2 variables, it's really hard for us to solve that equation mathematically. So then we need to use our background and our extra information And we can see in the image that Cora has 36 apps. So we can plug 36 in for C and simplify this equation a little bit. So R minus 5 equals 2 times 36, which is 72. Now we have a one-step equation, which you can use your skills from yesterday to solve, because the opposite of minus 5 is plus 5, and you can solve to figure out how many apps Rita started the day with. All right. Number 2 is a quick review, because we're going to be including the distributive property in our equation work in upcoming lessons. When we look at these two equations, 1/5 x plus 2 equals 6 and 1/5 times the quantity x plus 2 equals 6, are they the same? Hopefully we can see that the answer to that question is no, because when we have 1/5 in front of the parentheses, we have to bomb the fort. So we have to take that 1/5 and we have to bomb the fort. And I'm going to probably turn that 1/5 into a decimal. I know that 1 divided by 5 is 0.2 times x. I'll actually put that in parentheses. Plus, when I bomb that fort, 0.2 times 2 equals 6. And when we bomb the fort, if we multiply and simplify that out to the last step, we'll see that it is a different equation than the first equation they give in the problem. At this time, I'm going to encourage you to pause the video and write down a problem in your math workbook. Write a word problem that could be represented by 5n minus 6 equals 19. What's a real-world scenario that could represent? And then we'll look at number 6 as our last example together for this lesson. Kaylee babysat for 11 hours this week. That was. So was is my equal word. It was equal to. That equaled. Okay, so I know that I'm going to have 11 equals because 11 was. The word was, when we look about this, which operations do we know when writing an equation? If I want to know where the equal sign should go, I might see words like is, was, had, has, those words that are telling me that these two statements are equal to each other. So 11 equals 5 fewer than. Well, that means I need to subtract 5. 5 fewer than, remember subtraction works kind of in the opposite direction of what we're used to. 2/3 as many hours. So 2/3 of, the word of tells me multiply, her hours. So she worked 5 fewer than 2/3 of her hours. There is an equation that could represent Kaylee's hours that she worked each week during the school year. Thanks for tuning in.